Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. What I mean by starting again is all my plants are going to get like a new start, following on from pH related problems and investigations into how my fertiliser actually affects the water and all things like that. What I've decided to do is that every single plant, whether it's mounted or in a pot, with the exception of the Ceramis stuff, because that has virtually got no fertiliser in it anyway, that just runs on almost clean water. But what I'm doing is my little bowl here is just getting a small amount of pure water in it, and then I'm watering a number of plants and then emptying it out and starting again. That's what I mean by starting afresh with some pure water. So everything is going to get that done at least twice, and I'll be testing the results as I go along. So what I've done so far is I've done my Masdevallias and Restrepias, and that is a total of 15 plants. They all got a very, very good wash through. You know, I poured water through the pot 3 or 4 times. Some of them didn't even need watering, but they got it anyway. It's a case of they love moisture, the temperatures are higher this time of the year, the day lengths are long, they're not going to stay wet for long, it's not a big deal. I haven't drowned them, promise you. Okay, and the results of that first watering, that was 15 plants. I mean, some are in, you know, relatively large pots, and some of them are in tiny little ones. So, you know, it varied. But basically, the readings on the water after I'd finished 15 plants, the TDS measurement had gone from its base of 9 or 10 up to 52. So there was some residue fertiliser in those pots. I wouldn't class that as a high amount, but nonetheless, it altered that value. The pH value virtually didn't change. It stayed at 6.8, 6.9. So the acidity in the pots on those plants is not a problem. They can be crossed off the list. Simple. Yeah? Okay? And then what I did was I changed the water, so chuck that away. I hate chucking water away. But and then I put some fresh water in, and I watered my Paphiopedilums. Now, they are in mainly bark with some moss. That's their basic things. I mean, this is come out. This is one of my better ones. This is Mordiea species. Lovely leaves on it. It's a nice plant. I love it. And that's Paphiopedilum roots. That's what they're meant to look like. Gorgeous. So that's a good plant. Yeah, so that was still slightly wet, but with Paphiopedilums that doesn't matter. The story that goes with watering is, if you look at your Cattleyas and you think they might need watering, then they don't. If you look at your Oncidiums and the like, and they look like they might need watering, it's probably better to do them. If you look at your Paphiopedilums and they look like they need watering, you should have done it yesterday. They're supposed to stay moist. Yeah, so giving these a flipping good soak when they haven't dried out is not going to do them any harm. And how many plants have we just done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The little tiny one up there. 6, 7, 8. So I've watered 8 plants into that small amount of water, flushing them through. And if we have a look at what that's done, this is going to be fun with only one spare hand because I can't get it deep enough. Basically that's gone up to 54. Yeah, so just watering those few plants has taken the TDS level up. pH, it helps if you turn it on. They work better when you turn these things on, they really do. They don't work so good when you don't. Yeah, that's about 6.6, 6.7. So again, it's moved a tiny little bit, but not much. But if you think about the way I was watering before, I was perhaps watering 70 or 80 plants without changing the water. So obviously the TDS level would have built up progressively. So the first couple of plants got nice clean water through them. You know, the next sort of 30 or so, the TDS level and possibly a pH change, but not dramatic. I'm now not worried about pH. I know what's doing it. But obviously my pots are flushing out salts. Now this flipping rain mix fertiliser is supposed to not need flushing. Well, I'm sure some of you that use it are erring on the side of caution and probably giving your plants a flush now and again anyway, as do I, but I wasn't doing it frequently. So all I'm really going to change, I'm not changing the fertiliser I use. I'm going to add a little bit of limestone, crushed agricultural limestone into the water if the pH changes during watering. But basically the principle is to not let the water build up. In other words, just change it more often. So I will carry on reusing my water, but instead of filling this thing right up to here to do like half of my plants in one go, I'll put small amounts in, flush some pots through, you know, and then chuck that water away, put some fresh in, until I've been round everything in this grow room twice. And at that point, I believe I will have started again. And then I'll go back to feeding on a regular basis, like I do, with perhaps more frequent flushing. I think I'll take that on board, definitely. But what I won't do is fill this flipping thing right up and try and do as many plants as possible before it runs out. What I'll do is mix up smaller amounts of feed, use it, and then change it. And then if there is any acidity in the pots, you know, it's not going to build up in the water, it won't cause a problem. So that's what I mean by starting again. It's going to take me a while to get round all of these plants and give them a flush twice, because some of them don't need watering as often. I can't water my cattleyas every day, I'll drown the poor things. But then my mounts get watered every day, they'll have been flushed out. Oh, just by the way, on the subject of the mounts, even the mounts built up the TDS level when I watered them yesterday, starting with clean fresh water. By the time I'd finished them, but you have to bear in mind that's probably 35, 40 plants got watered, some with quite large amounts of moss, some with not so much. The TDS level had gone up near 100, so I was flushing out salts from my mounts, which was a little unexpected. So this rain mix does build up salts in the mix. Now I don't know what effect it would have on inorganic type medias, like people using Ceramis or leca beads or anything like that. I mean, people growing in water-culture haven't got a problem because they probably change their water relatively frequently and probably don't put much feed in it anyway. So, you know, this is more people using traditional organic medias like bark and things like that is more likely to cause a little bit of a niggle. This is not a major big deal. It's not a big problem. I don't believe if you like using the rain mix, it's worth changing to something else because it is a good mix. I mean, you have to bear in mind the type of nitrogen that's used in there is fully available to your plants. I mean, it's the nitrogen that's based on urea that causes the problems because in its natural state, like it would be in that type of fertiliser, I'm not on about ready mix stuff, I'm on about stuff you mix up yourself. Yes, that dissolves in your water and you water it into your plant, but then something has to happen to that nitrogen before the plant can use it, and it's to do with microorganisms stuff. It's sciencey stuff that I can't be bothered with. I just don't use it. So the type of nitrogen in the rain mix is available to the plants without any interactions with microorganisms and stuff like that. So obviously it would be quite good for inorganic stuff. If you use a urea-based fertiliser in totally inorganic media, those microorganisms aren't there, so that nitrogen is not readily available to your plants. Also, urea type nitrogen apparently needs quite high temperatures to even work. So just to sum up then, I'm going to carry on using my rain mix with caution. I will flush my pots more often. I like the balance of the fertiliser. I like the analysis that's gone on in, you know, with the MSU investigations and trials. I quite like the sound of all that stuff. That's Michigan State University, I believe. So well done, you lot, for coming up with this stuff, and sort of well done, Kearns, for making it available in Europe with a copy or a basic copy. So just a warning shot. That's all it is. Don't panic. Don't run off and go and buy baby bio to feed your orchids on, or I'm sure that would work. So I'm just going to use much smaller amounts of water and not let anything build up by using my water through method. I'm not changing my methods, I'm just changing the frequency with which the water will be refreshed, which gives the plants a much better chance to just get what's supposed to go in the pot, which is a good fertiliser at a decent pH level with nothing else added. just what it says on the tin basically. And it just goes to show when you try and do filming in the middle of a watering session, because it was a subject I thought I ought to say something about, you put a pot down in your chair. And that's what happens when your pot drains on your chair. So the cat's going to sit on that now and dry it out for me. Okay, thanks for dropping by. This is only a little update. As I've said, I'm not running into panic mode. I don't do panics. I've had a little problem. I've analysed it. I've sorted out what's caused it. And I have a solution that's going to work. The idea of the agricultural limestone might not even be necessary. If I can water a reasonable amount of pots with a smaller amount of water, and the pH level has changed very little during that time, then I haven't got a problem on that front. Cross it off the list. However, obviously I do have a salts build up, and I'll just deal with that by flushing more frequently. Problem over. Well, problems with my orchids over. Problems in life go on. That's just life. My poor old mum collapsed yesterday and got ambulanced into hospital, so I'm off there in a minute to see if she's up and running again. Yeah, I used to have a friend who used to shove his hands in his pockets and go, "Life's a worry." Well, it is, isn't it? Okay, have a good day. Thanks for dropping by.